Hello, hello. This is Dawn McCoy with Flourish Leadership Group, where I ignite your leadership to the next level. I'm so glad you tuned in for another edition of Leadership Reflections. Look, it's a fine time of year to celebrate and reacquaint ourselves with the art of mentoring. I can tell you it is a delightful opportunity to be a supporter to someone you know in your community, an advocate or an ally. I want you to think about if you have not already signed up for the task, think about doing so now. You can hear me, type a one in the box. And if you're joining me live, thank you so much. If you're joining me for the replay, type hashtag replay. Look, it is no secret that we need more people to step up to the plate, to be resources out there in our communities. We need people to be advocates. We need people to be friends. We need people to be teachers. More importantly, we need people just to share what they know. If you have a trade or a craft, a skill or an expertise, think about what you can do to package that up and share it out. It is not complicated. It is not something that's rocket science. It takes just a little bit of time. The leadership principles I put together, 7 steps total in my leadership building blocks principles, are fundamental. The work that I compiled over almost 3 decades, the work that you can do and what you have, maybe it's being able to write that down on a napkin. Maybe it's just telling someone over the phone or jotting things down, or maybe just having some two-way conversations, whatever it might be. Think about how you can do that. Why? I'm asking you because we have historical information everywhere around us about how we've learned how to do things from others. It's more important now than ever that leaders are thinking about what they can do to leave behind a legacy. And I don't say this just to sort of be about, oh, well, we need to be thinking about what we'll say when we're gone, or what people will reflect about who we were and did we serve. But more importantly, are we doing all we can to make sure we document who we are, what we're doing, how we did it, and how we were successful? A long time ago, I really had great fortune of partaking in both of my grandmother's wonderful, delicious, and delectable cooking. One grandmother made amazing cookies and sold these in local homes, and actually were people were very fond of her cookies, and she was very well known for that. My other grandmother had made very wonderful pies and salads and an assortment of types of really flavorful dishes. And so both of them combined, I learned that they kept the recipes right here. You needed to watch what they were doing, but you needed to also take mental notes, how they put all the ingredients together or aside, or how they put everything together to bring it, and even the temperature and the way that they cooked it. My grandmother made an amazing cornbread that I still cannot master. The way that she was able to bring all of the ingredients together and then to set it out and put a towel over it and just let it cool. These are skills that are kept here, but we also need to translate these. Now, thankfully, our family does have all of these recipes, and they're written down and in memory. An amazing macaroni and cheese recipe from one of my favorite aunts. And so I want you to think about, aside from food, the opportunity to take what you do, to write things down, process, some protocols, practice, maybe something that's just assembling pictures or photos or your favorite collector's items. It might be something just simple. But why I say this is we have so many leaders today who have something that they're able to do, but forget maybe to pass that on. In just a few weeks, I am so excited to share that I have someone in my family who will be turning 100 years old. I'm so delighted. He is a veteran, and I'll be sharing you more stories about him in the next few weeks. Why I say this, because he served in many capacities in his almost 100 years coming up in February, is that he was a mentor to many in his capacities and still is quite the role model. I'm delighted because in my family, I have a rich legacy of people who've taken what they know and passed it on, either through oral tradition or sharing what's in their brains, being able to jot something down, or actually do the art of showing skills. And so, when I say that, this family member who I hold in high regard, the opportunity to learn what he knows, his experiences having served in World War II, and his wealth of information having served in major leadership positions in the state of New Jersey. And so I really want us to think about what we can do as leaders to be effective in sharing our information, taking it all. Yes, that's right, taking it all out of our brains, self included, to be able to be effective in what we do as leaders, passing on what we know. It's a skill. I've shared more than once about who I've learned from in my years leading and what I've learned, but there are so many things that I need to now pass on to that next generation of leaders. So certainly stay tuned for the work that I continue to do in the leadership development space. I say this is so important now more than ever. There's a difference between someone being in a position to lead for themselves and thinking about that next generation, servant leadership, legacy leadership, and flourish leadership. Being able to thrive and not just stay in a position, but being able to constantly be thinking about growing and growing others. So I wanted to make sure that you had access to some of the resources, and leadership building blocks is one of those fundamentals. I'll be glad to share that with you. I was just going to put that into the little ticker tape here. But to be able to share with you about how you can get more information, more importantly, because leadership development is now one of those buzzwords that people talk about and say, oh, yes, exactly. I need to learn about leadership and I need to be a better leader. And what can I do to be a more effective leader in my community or in my neighborhood, or just in sharing with the young people who are with you, be able to take them aside and get some of these core principles. Now, if you're not learning it, obviously, there are lots of things. Some people are still going into bookstores, some people are not, some people are going online. Wherever you go to find your information, please, I implore you, find out what you can do to become a better leader by sharing information, documenting what you have, and being able to help that next generation of leaders. It's so important. I want you to continue to follow me across social media at Dawn McCoy Books and to make sure that you are doing all that you can. If you're doing something, type it in the box. I'd love to hear in your comments about what's working for you. What has worked? A process of documenting, note taking, maybe it's a card file. I'm not sure, but I'd love to hear what has been working for you. Also, be sure to stay tuned for next week, Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, for leadership building blocks, leadership reflections, and leadership fundamentals. Well, until we meet again, be enlightened, be enriched, be empowered. Take care now.